All right, good to see y'all again. It's been a couple weeks. We're excited to get to Chicago and hopefully start a winning streak going. So go ahead.
You watch Justin Fields. What do you see on tape?
Yeah, he's very mobile and athletic. He's got really elite speed. I think he has a really strong arm and he can get the ball down the field. And you see improvement every week he plays. He's getting more comfortable in the offense, and I think he's got a chance to be a really good quarterback.
The DBs, I know there was that play that he threw the pick six and Rasul Douglas returned it. Like, it looked like he kind of like locked in on Mooney. Is that something with young quarterbacks you like teach your DBs, like, hey, make sure that you're looking at their eyes because that might be the tell that you need?
Well, right now we're trying not to look at the quarterback so often because in coverage, like if you're in man-to-man coverage, you need to look at your man. And so when we're in man-to-man coverage, we've peeked in the backfield a few too many times. Now when you're in zone, and I think especially with the safeties, you can read the quarterback's eyes. And I think Harrison and Xavier do a good job of doing that. So that's something we can look at. Yes.
Is there something specific with rookie quarterbacks that you feel like is the hardest thing for them to adapt to with defenses, whether it's blitzes, coverages, and things like that?
Yeah, I think compared to college, the scheme as far as coverages are so different, and you're going to get so many more fronts than you do in college. So, just the nuances of where the safety's coming down, or is he giving you a look one way and going the other, and things like that, I think are an adjustment for those quarterbacks. And along with the different fronts and pressure packages you see, we like to think we give a lot of pressure looks and different looks at the offense. So I think all those things are an adjustment for those guys, but you can see the good ones learn it pretty quickly.
You can tell about the eyes in a man-to-man. When you are in man-to-man coverage, is that even more of a key when you go up against a guy who's mobile and can scramble and kind of?
Oh yeah.
I know he's not Russell Wilson yet, but he's
Definitely, because if you start scrambling around and you look in the backfield, you're losing your guy, and we got to focus on looking at my man the whole play so that I don't lose him. It's not just the DBs; it's the linebackers and anybody that's in coverage.
I saw that Kenny Willekes didn't practice today. Do you expect to have him on Monday?
We'll see. I honestly don't know. He's working with Shug and doing his best he can to get back, but I don't know right now.
This team has been pretty good at sort of blocking things out, their potential distractions. But with everything going on with COVID, I know that it's something you've been dealing with for a while, but it's really, it's canceling games. The Wolves' top players out tonight, things like that. I guess how are you guys operating sort of amidst another flare-up of this everywhere?
Yeah, we're just trying to adjust as best as we can and adhere to the protocols and the things we've had to change. We had to change meeting rooms. We've had to do a lot of things that we had to do last year, and we want to keep the focus on Chicago. We want to not focus on, we've got to wear masks all the time, or we've got to change locations of practice or the meeting rooms or things like that. So I think as coaches we have to try and keep them on Chicago and prepare like the game is the biggest one of the year, and it is.
Is it tough to sort of look at who they have out though and say, okay, who's the backup going to be? What do we know about them? Do you still have to do all that and go through that?
Well, we'll look at those guys on tape, but in general, we're going to look at the scheme and how they try to attack us last year with this staff, how they've operated this year. Because I don't think they can change their offense a whole lot in 4 or 5 days. So we're going to focus on what they do and focus on what we do as well, and the best way to attack that.
I guess there's some tweets from some various reporters that the NFL is maybe talking about postponing some games. I don't know if the Bears are involved, but they have COVID issues. Have you heard anything about that game possibly not being 100% set for Monday? Or?
That's the first I've heard anything like that. I don't know about postponing games or anything like that. So.
You hear that certain positions, you're not a rookie anymore by December or so. Does that apply to quarterback, or is there still is that window longer for?
Well, I think as much as he's played, he's got enough experience to not considered a rookie anymore. He's played in a lot of football games, and like I said, he's gotten better in each game he's played. And and he's won like 3 games, so, and they've won 4, so he's done a good job when he's been in there.
And when you say you change meeting rooms, you just go into bigger rooms, or how many?
Yeah, well,
This building?
Well, they just shuffle us around in different rooms. The D-line had to go to the team room because it had more space in it, and we had to go to the defensive line room. It's the same rooms we were in last year, where we can space out and have social distancing.
Not been virtual yet.
In some aspects we are, but right now the NFL has allowed us to meet in different meeting rooms.
Last year, in the second game you guys played them, they used a lot of sort of like wide zone and bootleg stuff that they usually haven't. It seems like this year they've gone back to the shotgun. Are you sort of factoring that in, that was a part of like what Nagy could do, or does it seem like they've sort of stuck to the shotgun stuff with Fields?
Well, they've done a little bit of still the wide zone and the bootlegs that they did against us in the second game, and I think that's stuff that Nagy has done well over his career. So we look at both what they've done this year and what they did last year. We've looked at both games from last year and see what we did well, it was good to us, and what we need to work on and practice, because if I were them, I'd probably do some of the same stuff because it was successful on some of the drives.